All right. So have you ever walked through like a park or a garden, one that's really beautifully designed and thought, how did they do this?
Yeah,
Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into how you can design those incredible spaces.
it's true.
It's landscape architect interview prep time.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating field, and it's way more in depth than I think a lot of people realize.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got some excerpts actually from RoleCatcher's Career Guide and Interview Guide for Landscape Architects. And
Ooh,
yeah, so we're going to kind of dig into those today.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like you want a space to be stunning.
Exactly. And I think that's something that the guide really emphasizes is this balance between the aesthetics and the functionality. You're creating a harmonious space. It needs to be practical.
Right.
And I think that's something that comes up a lot in the interview process as well.
Okay, so let's say you're prepping for this interview. What are some of the curveballs that they might throw your way?
Yeah, so one of the big ones that comes up a lot is, can you tell us about your experience with site analysis?
Okay.
Which sounds kind of basic,
Yeah,
but
sounds simple enough.
they're really looking for you to kind of geek out a bit about this.
So it's not enough to just say, yeah, I visited the site once. They
Yeah.
want the behind the scenes.
Exactly. Yeah, they want to know like how it's like reading the landscape's fingerprints.
Okay,
Every site has a story to tell.
I like that.
So they want to know how you gather the data
Mm-hmm.
through site visits and surveys, soil tests, maybe even doing some historical research.
Wow.
And this is actually where RoleCatcher's AI can give you a little bit of an edge.
Okay, by magically reading the interviewer's minds.
Almost.
Okay.
It analyzes specific job descriptions to see what skills employers are really emphasizing.
Oh, cool.
So say the job posting mentions using GIS software for analysis,
Okay.
you'll know to highlight that experience.
Now that's what I call a secret weapon. Okay, so we've impressed them with our site detective skills.
Yeah.
What's next?
All right, so get ready to talk about budgets.
Uh-oh.
Because the guide highlights this question. Can you give an example of a project where you balance design creativity with budget constraints?
Okay.
And this is really where you can bring your experience to life.
Because like in a perfect world, we'd all have unlimited fountains and rare orchids.
Right.
Yeah.
This question is about proving that you can handle the real world.
Right.
The guide suggests having a specific project in mind where you face this challenge.
Okay.
Walk them through how you made tough choices, got creative with materials, maybe found some cost-effective alternative without sacrificing that overall vision.
That makes total sense because a concrete example makes your answer way more memorable.
Right.
Plus, it shows you understand that design doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Exactly. And speaking of the real world, the guide also emphasizes the growing importance of sustainable design.
Okay, so get ready for the question about how eco-friendly we are.
Yeah, you got it. They might ask about your experience with sustainable design principles. Be ready to talk about native plants, water efficiency, maybe even incorporating renewable energy sources into your designs.
It's like we're not just designing for right now, but for the future of the planet, too. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What other questions should we be prepared for?
Well, remember how we talked about each site having a unique story?
Yes.
They might ask, how do you approach incorporating cultural and historical context into your designs?
Now, that's a curveball I was not expecting. So it's not just about the plants.
Right.
It's about the place's whole history.
Exactly. Imagine you're designing a park in a historic district.
Right.
You wouldn't just use any old design, right?
No.
They want to know that you'd consider the architecture, the history, maybe even incorporate local materials or design elements that really honor the area's past.
Wow.
It's about creating a space that feels truly connected to its surroundings. It's like you're weaving a narrative into the landscape itself. It's really cool.
Totally, yeah. It's like anyone can plant a tree, but a landscape architect understands the story that tree tells, within that whole environment.
Precisely. And to bring it back to RoleCatcher, their AI can actually help you showcase that deeper understanding in your interview answers.
Okay.
So let's say you're asked about a time that you faced a design challenge.
Okay. I feel like that's a pretty common interview question.
It is, but here's where RoleCatcher takes it up a notch. Their AI might suggest that you highlight a project where you incorporated cultural elements because it knows that that's important to the employer.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a personalized guide for each interview.
Okay, that's seriously cool. It's like having a secret weapon against these, like, kind of vague interview questions.
Yeah, right.
But let's be real, there's another big one that the guy talks about, project management.
Uh-huh.
How do they even begin to ask about that in an interview?
Well, they might ask you something like, can you walk us through your process for managing a complex landscape project?
Okay.
Essentially, what they're trying to gauge is, can you handle the juggling act?
Because landscaping isn't exactly like a solo sport.
Right.
It's like herding cats, but with trees and contractors.
That's a great way to put it because you're working with clients, contractors, architects, maybe even city planners.
Right.
So think about all those collaboration skills that RoleCatcher emphasizes.
So instead of just saying, yeah, I'm good at teamwork, we need to show them.
Exactly. Have a specific example ready to go.
Okay.
Maybe talk about a time you had to adjust a design timeline because of like unexpected weather delays or how you communicated a budget change to a client.
Right, right.
The key is to demonstrate your problem-solving skills and your ability to keep everyone on the same page even when things get a little tricky.
Okay, that makes sense. It's all about proving you can handle those real-world curveballs.
Yeah.
Because anyone can design like a beautiful garden on paper, but can you actually bring it to life?
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Oh, yeah.
This is where practicing your answers, even recording them with RoleCatcher's video feedback tool, can be a game changer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. RoleCatcher doesn't just tell you what to say. They help you nail the delivery. It's like, okay, you aced the content, but your enthusiasm level needs a boost.
Precisely. And they might even pick up on subtle things like, are you using a lot of jargon that the employer might not be familiar with, and suggest ways that you can simplify your language so it resonates with everyone.
I love that. Okay,
Yes.
we've talked about site analysis, handling budgets, incorporating the history and the culture, even our rock star project management skills. But what about the heart of it all, the actual design process? They have to ask about that, right?
Right. It's like a classic question. Can you describe your design process from that initial spark of inspiration to the final product?
Right.
And this is your chance to kind of geek out a little bit about what makes you tick as a designer.
It's story time, but for gardens.
Exactly. But remember, structure is key.
Okay.
Think about it like a guided tour of your brain. Start with how you gather information and inspiration. Do you sketch, make mood boards, spend hours wandering botanical gardens? Then walk them through your process of brainstorming, experimenting with ideas, and then developing those initial concepts into a cohesive design.
So it's okay to nerd out a bit about our love for, I don't know, 3D modeling software or a specific type of plant.
Absolutely. This is where you can showcase your technical skills and the tools that you use.
Okay.
Just remember to tie it back to the bigger picture. How do those tools help you create these incredible spaces?
So it's about showing them we're not just plant enthusiasts, we're design ninjas with a toolbox full of tricks.
Precisely.
I'm feeling so much more prepared for this interview already, but I think we might be running a little low on time for this segment.
That's right. We still have much more to explore, like how to build a portfolio that wows, what to expect once you've actually landed the job, and how RoleCatcher can even be helpful at that stage.
And we're back.
We are.
I'm still kind of geeking out about all these insider tips for acing a landscape architect interview.
Yeah, it's clear that this is a field that attracts people who are both creative and analytical with a real passion for the environment.
Totally. But even with all the right answers in your back pocket in an interview, there's still that whole getting your foot in the door part. Where do aspiring landscape architects even begin to build a career?
Well, the RoleCatcher Career Guide really emphasizes the importance of hands-on experience, and even while you're still studying.
Okay.
So think internships, volunteering, maybe even part-time gigs at design firms, botanical gardens, environmental organizations.
So it's not just about what you learn in a classroom, it's about actually getting your hands dirty, literally.
Exactly. It helps solidify those textbook concepts, but I think more importantly, it gives you a taste of the real-world challenges and rewards of the job.
Right.
Plus, those internships can be networking gold mines.
Oh, right. Because like you said earlier, networking is huge EE in creative field.
It's everything. Building those connections can lead to some really unexpected opportunities.
Yeah.
But even with a great network, you need a killer portfolio to really stand out.
Okay, and guess what? Storytelling is crucial here too.
Wait, really? So it's not just about showing off pretty pictures of gardens we've designed.
It's about telling the story behind the design.
Okay.
Think of each project as a chapter.
Okay.
What were the client's goals? What obstacles did you overcome?
Yeah.
What makes this project unique? And as you're doing that, weave in those narratives, highlight the skills that RoleCatcher emphasizes, like active listening, problem solving.
It's like we're creating like a highlight reel of our landscape design superpowers.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of high-quality visuals.
Right, yeah.
Crisp photos, detailed sketches, stunning renderings, they all make a difference.
Oh, for sure.
Now, on top of a killer portfolio, the career guide also mentions certifications that can give you an edge.
Okay, we're talking about like knowing how to prune a bonsai tree with tweezers.
That would be impressive, I'm not going to lie.
Right.
But they actually focus on the industry-recognized certifications like the Landscape Architect Registration Exam.
Okay.
Or LAR.
LAR, got it. It's a big one for aspiring landscape architects because passing it is actually required to become licensed in most states.
So it's like the difference between saying, yeah, I can design a park versus I am the authority
Exactly.
on designing parks.
Licensing opens up more job opportunities, often comes with higher pay, and it builds serious credibility.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Plus, there are other certifications like Sites Accreditation and Lead Green Associate. Both of those are focused on sustainable design.
So it's like you're saying, I'm not just designing beautiful spaces, I'm designing for the future of the planet.
Precisely. And I think as sustainability becomes increasingly important, these certifications really demonstrate your commitment to creating those environmentally responsible designs, which employers love to see.
Absolutely. Wow. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. We've talked interview strategies, portfolio building, even career-boosting certifications.
We really have.
I'm feeling incredibly inspired.
Me too.
And I'm sure our listeners are too. Before we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for aspiring landscape architects out there?
RoleCatcher is an incredible resource, but your passion and dedication are what will truly set you apart. Embrace every learning opportunity, never stop asking questions, and let that love for creating these incredible spaces guide you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. If you feel that spark, don't ignore it. Go design some amazing landscapes. That's a wrap on this deep dive into the world of landscape architecture. Until next time.